So the steepness of a line, it's called its slope. So depending on how steep the line is or how flat the line is determined by its slope. So the slope of a steep line should be bigger than the slope of a flat line. Lines that are equally steep should have the same slope, and lines that go up from left to right, so they look like this, should have a positive slope, and lines that go down from left to right should have a negative slope. Okay, so according to the slope formula, slope is what we call change in y, which we use as a triangle, delta y, over change in x, which uses a triangle again, where delta y is the vertical change between any 2 points on the line, and delta x is the horizontal change between those same points. So in the formula, so as far as the actual formula goes, if a line contains the points x1, y1, and x2, y2, the slope of that line can be written as y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So is it true or false that it does not matter which of the 2 points you use to call x1, y1, and x2, y2? It does not matter. But what matters is that you cannot have x1, y2, and x2, y1. So they have to be grouped together. Whatever is x1, the y value that's with it is y1. So if I wanted to find the slope of this line, well, I need to label my points as x1, y1, and x2, y2. And it says I'm going to subtract my x's, so I'm going to do negative 3 minus 4 divided by 8 minus negative 6. Now notice there has to be the minus sign on top and there has to be the minus sign on bottom, in addition to any negative signs you might potentially have. And when you have that minus negative on bottom, that really becomes plus a positive. So negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. 8 plus 6 is 14. And I can reduce negative 7 over 14 to negative 1/2. So it says to find the slope of the line containing the points 1, 7 and 10, 15. So I'm going to label them x1, y1, and x2, y2. So to find the slope, I would do 15 minus 7 over 10 minus 1. Well, 15 minus 7 is 8, 10 minus 1 is 9, so my slope would be 8 over 9. The next question asking which direction the line is going. Well, depending on if the slope is positive or negative determines if the line is going up or down. So it may be important for you to write this down. If it's positive, it's going up. If it's negative, it's going down. Our slope 8 over 9 is positive, so it's going to be going up and to the right. If you scroll down to where it says page 15, it says all horizontal lines are lines that go straight across, have a slope of 0. So any line that's horizontal is going to have a slope of 0. I'm going to ask you mathematically, why is the slope 0? Well, the reason it's 0 is because there is no vertical change. There is no vertical change. It's not going up or down at all. It's just going to go straight across. So that would be like 0 divided by some number, which is just going to be 0. So a vertical line, a line that's straight up and down, has a slope that we call undefined. It's also important to note that if it's a horizontal line, its equation will always be in the form of y equals some number, possibly y equals 10, y equals 5, y equals negative 3. But if it's a horizontal line, it's just going to be y equals some number. And the opposite of that is true, that if it's a vertical line, so it's a line that's straight up and down, it's going to be in the form of x equals some number. Could be x equals negative 1 million, x equals 0.3. If it's just x equals and a number, the line is going to be undefined. It's going to be vertical. Looking at the very last page where it says page 22, the slope of a line tells you the rate of change, of the y variable with respect to the x variable. So moving on to our checkup, starting with number 1, I'm supposed to find the slope of this line. So it gives me my formula up there at the top in case you forgot what it was. So I'm going to label my points x1, y1, and x2, y2. And it says that it's y2, which is 9, minus y1, which is 1. divided by x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is negative 1. So notice I still put the minus sign in there, and I put the negative sign. 9 minus 1 is going to give me 8. When I have 3 minus negative 1, that minus negative becomes plus a positive. 3 plus 1 is 4, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So the slope of this line would be positive 2. So moving on to number 3. Again, we're supposed to find our slopes. I'm going to label my points x1, y1, and x2, y2. So the formula would say negative 2 minus negative 4 divided by 6 minus 1. Negative 2 minus negative 4 becomes plus a positive, and negative 2 plus 4 is going to be positive 2. 6 minus 1 is 5, so our slope is 2 over 5. Number 5. Well, this one should be easy because this is a horizontal line, and any line that's horizontal has a slope of 0. Number 9. Again, we're supposed to find our slope. So I'll label my points x1, y1, x2, y2. So my formula says y2, which is 6, minus y1, which is 1, divided by x2, which is 7, minus x1, which is 0. 6 minus 1 is 5, 7 minus 0 is 7, so my slope is 5 over 7. And lastly, number 9. I'm going to label my points x1, y1, and x2, y2. So it would be 0 minus 6 divided by 3 minus negative 1. 0 minus 6 is negative 6. The minus negative becomes plus a positive. 3 plus 1 is 4. Negative 6 over 4, I can reduce that. I can divide both those by 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2.